So far, 2024 hasn't seen too many new MMORPG releases. We had Tarisland, we've got Throne of Liberty coming later in the year, a few MMO expansions, as well as the usual perpetually in development MMOs making slow and steady progress with testing phases here and there. There is one new MMO, however, that kinda came out of nowhere this year, a game that's been in development for years that no one knew about until it was revealed back in March 2024. And the best part, this new MMO will be releasing in 2024 and is being made by the guy that brought us one of the most successful MMORPGs ever created. I'm of course talking about Brighter Shores, a unique new MMO developed by Runescape creator Andrew Gower that's set for release late Q3 or Q4 2024. But first, today's sponsor, Dragon Raja, an open-world cyberpunk RPG with over 30 million players featuring a unique storyline, in-depth character customization, a plethora of skills, player housing, and a ton of PvP and PvE game modes to enjoy. And it's about to get even more epic with the arrival of a brand new class, the Dragon Rider. Imagine soaring through the skies on a majestic dragon wielding a powerful spear and unleashing devastating skills like Dragon Thrust and Spear Dance. That's the power of the Dragon Rider, and it's coming on August 22nd. But that's not all, the Dimensional Realm is expanding with levels 16 to 20, offering new challenges and exciting rewards. And for those returning to the game, there's a free Milky Berry motor waiting for you. Plus, don't forget to join Dragon Raja's official communities for exclusive in-game packs, cash rewards, and even a chance to win a Nintendo Switch. And if you're a content creator, submit your work to their program and score a super unique outfit, avatar, and diamonds. So mark your calendars for August 22nd and get ready to experience the next generation of Dragon Raja. Download the game now and unleash your inner Dragon Rider, and I'll see you in this cyberpunk style open world. So, Brighter Shores. My reaction to seeing the footage of this game for the first time was, oh, so visually it looks a lot like RuneScape 3, but they've gone with a heavily instanced grid-based world. Not gonna lie, I did not like the visuals or style of this game at first. I thought the world design seemed like a bit of a step back from RuneScape, but then I decided to look deeper into the game, the design philosophy behind it, and it kinda makes sense with what they're going for here. Brighter Shores isn't designed to be a RuneScape clone, it's trying to be its own thing and bring something new to the MMO genre. Obviously, this game will share similarities with RuneScape, such as point-and-click gameplay, British humour, puzzles and skills, but it's not really trying to be a competitor. The reason behind the unusual aesthetic of the game is that it's heavily inspired by tabletop games. The small instanced areas, or rooms as they're referred to as, look a lot like the physical grid-based tabletop maps that someone might make for a D&D game. So straight away, if your expectations for Brighter Shores is that it's going to be a RuneScape killer, it's not. It's not trying to be. Yes, RuneScape players will probably enjoy it, but it's better to think of this game as trying to be the perfect MMO for people who like old school MUDs, tabletop RPGs, point-and-click adventure, with relaxing social gameplay, storytelling, skilling, and exploration. For me personally, I'm going to go into this game with an open mind because I think Andrew Gower is a genius when it comes to MMO design. To this day, I think RuneScape is the best designed MMO there's ever been, so if there was ever a dev I'd just trust the process with, it's this guy. Despite being a major concern of mine when I first saw the trailer of Brighter Shores, I actually think the world could be one of the coolest, most addictive aspects of this game. When you first create your character and spawn into the world on day 1, then open your minimap, you will only see the one room you spawn in. To uncover the map, you'll need to travel to each room, which will instantly give the game a sense of mystery, exploration and intrigue, as well as tie exploration into the game's progression. Additionally, as you travel throughout the world, you'll find gatherable resources that you can also right-click discover on that resource to mark it on your map. Obviously, with such small instanced areas, traversing the world would suck if it means there's a loading screen every time, but thankfully the traversal between these rooms is seamless with no loading screens. Apparently one of the reasons behind this design decision is that Brighter Shores won't have servers that you select at the start of the game like a traditional MMO, but it also won't have selectable worlds like RuneScape. Instead, the game dynamically puts players into room instances based on the number of players in an area. If you you have friends in one room, then the game will prioritise putting you in the same room as your friends. How about world size? The overall world size won't be that big at first and is said to be quite compact. It's not intended that you'll be spending lots of time running vast distances across the map, and you will be able to teleport to different locations using magic. Skills in Brighter Shores are referred to as professions. More will be added to the game periodically with updates, but so far we know of the following: Fisher, Chef, Woodcutter, Scout, Miner, Merchant, Detective, Leatherworker, Forager, Alchemist, Stonemason, and Blacksmith. Similar to Runescape, Brighter Shores will have skill capes, however they work a bit differently. Instead of only getting a cape when you've maxed out a skill, these capes come in 4 parts and expand the more you progress a skill. You'll get part 1 of a cape at Journeyman proficiency, part 2 at Adept, part 3 at Expert, and the full finished cape at the completed stage of proficiency. As for how long this will actually take, Andrew said Brighter Shores isn't going to be as grindy as Runescape, and they're intentionally designing some skills so they can be fully AFK'd. Active skilling will be way more XP per hour, but each skill should have some fully AFK option built in. In terms of business model, the game will have no microtransactions and use a free-to-play premium model similar to RuneScape. Basically, as a free-to-play player, you're limited to the first 2 episodes of content and skills, but after that you'll need to buy the game's premium membership option. Subscribing also won't auto-default to auto-reoccurring payments, which is quite nice, so you'll need to make the decision to resub each time. This is probably the most fair business model they could possibly go with, to be honest. So I briefly just mentioned episodes, which basically refer to how content will be released in Brighter Shores. The first 4 episodes have almost finished development and will be completely finished by the time the game launches in early access. They will, however, not all release at once. When the game first launches in early access, we'll get episode 1, which contains the Hope Port story as well as the Fisher and Chef skill. Episode 2 contains the Woodcutter and Scout skills, Episode 3 contains the Miner skill, and Episode 4 contains the Merchant, Detective and Leatherworker skills, with Forager, Alchemist, Stonemason and Blacksmith skills coming in future episodes. Each episode basically brings new areas, new stories, new skills, skilling methods, puzzles and so on. It seems like as a day 1 early access player you'll kinda be limited as to what you're able to do. But at the same time, it will be cool to see the content as it's released and experience it together with the community. Unlike RuneScape, Brighter Shores won't have a classless combat system. So far the game has 3 classes which you don't have to select right away but during the early stages of the game. The Cryo Knight, which is a class that's mostly melee based but deals ice magic damage. The Guardian, which excels in ranged combat dealing nature magic damage. And you've got the Hammer Mage, which is a magic melee hybrid class that deals storm magic damage. Each of the game's 3 classes, despite being more melee, ranged or mage focused, can use each type of weapon, and classes are referred to in this game as factions. I can't find any solid footage of the game's combat yet, but it seems similar to RuneScape, and you also do have the ability to switch weapons in combat as well as perform weapon special attacks. It's also worth mentioning that due to there being 3 different classes, each account can also make 3 characters, presumably 1 for each class. I'm actually really surprised that Brighter Shores has a class system, as on paper, wouldn't this make it so you're just going to want to re-level each skill across each class? This would probably be fine though, as people do have multiple characters and accounts with different builds on RuneScape, so I suppose this could be seen as just trying to do the same kind of thing. I just hope that each of the game's factions feel fresh enough that it's worth re-leveling the skills again on each one to fully experience the game. Either that or the grind isn't a big deal in this game, so you'd naturally just make 1 of each class anyway. We'll have to see how it plays out. Here's some other info I gathered from various interviews that I'm just going to deliver to you rapid fire, so pay attention. During the starting experience, the game will nudge you to try many different skills and training methods. It's not intended that you train a skill to max by spamming the same method for 100 hours. The meta will be shifting with frequent unlocks as you progress to keep things fresh. Brighter Shores will have PvP, and it's been a planned addition to the game from day 1. It's not just an afterthought. PvP won't be in the game at early access release, however the addition of PvP will mark the end of being in early access, so expect it a few months after the early access launch. With professions being unlocked via episodes and story, this suggests that the game will feel much more linear and guided than RuneScape, although this is just my observation. Brighter Shores has taken 10 years to develop, but mostly because they built their own game engine. Initially this game was made just to test the engine. Andrew was working on another game, but so many people spammed him to make a new MMO that he changed his mind and made this. The game will have puzzles, traps, mysteries, and things to figure out as a community. The game will also likely have the same similar charm that RuneScape has. Player-to-player trading is restricted to premium accounts, which makes sense to fight gold sellers. Traversing the slopes or inclines, which look like blocks, is done seamlessly and just slow your character down, causing them to do a brief hop. Most professions are designed to be interconnected like RuneScape, but some are more standalone than others. The detective skill looks interesting. You've got 6 slots to collect bounties, you line up NPCs against a wall and look for clues to figure out who did the crime. To find clues you'll need to go through dialogue and also probably investigate various different areas. And the game's being designed to be a relaxing overall experience, not super twitchy, catered to people who like to explore and discover. So that's all the information I could find about Brighter Shores so far. Now for my thoughts and expectations on the game based on this info. I predict this game will have S-tier questing just like RuneScape. Andrew said the game will release in Q3, so let's assume a delay and say Q4. I think the graphics and art style will be super polarizing. Most people will not try the game purely because of how it looks. I think Brighter Shores will be extremely addictive. The RuneScape style skill system combined with the fun of uncovering the entire map sounds satisfying, and will likely keep you pumping XP for the next unlock. I expect the game will be zero pay to win based on Andrew saying he doesn't want any microtransactions on Twitter. I expect Brighter Shores to be a highly social game, people talking whilst skilling, the community coming together to theorycraft and share skilling methods, all of the stuff that made RuneScape great. I think the combat will probably be seen as one of the game's weak points. I expect whimsical, light-hearted writing with British humour, and I think Brighter Shores could potentially be a breath of fresh air for WoW players and people who have never played a game like RuneScape before, if they decide to give it a chance, considering this type of MMO is a completely different design to what people are used to with traditional theme park MMOs. Overall, I don't like the visuals of Brighter Shores, but I think it's going to be one of those MMOs where you're convincing your friends to play it anyway, because it will have a lot of substance as well as likely be quite addictive. At the very least, this MMO will feel like a unique experience, and I'm personally just going to trust the process and go into it with an open mind, considering it's being made by one of the best MMO designers to ever do it. From what I can tell, almost every RuneScape content creator is also going to be covering this game at launch too, so it'll probably have quite a big launch. Let's just hope the servers are up to it. But that's it for this video. As always, let me know your thoughts on Brighter Shores in the comments below. Is this an MMO you'll be trying? What do you like and dislike about it so far? If you enjoyed the vid, then please help us out with a like. I've been getting wrecked by the YouTube algorithm recently, so it'd really help. Social media on screen, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.